Hello and welcome to the Browns Blitz. Today is Wednesday, June the 11th. This is episode number 299, and I'm your host, Rod Bloom. Just thought it was appropriate that we start the show with a little tribute to Nick Chubb and his. We don't know if it's the end of his career in Cleveland or not. Kind of feels that way, more than likely. Who knows? Jeff's talked about him potentially making he has a resurgence. So who knows? But just want to pay a little tribute to him at the beginning of the show. So we are the Browns Blitz, and we're part of the Fanatical Elves Network. Check us out on YouTube and iTunes, and be sure to check out the other podcasts that are part of the network. And I'm going to bring in my brother, Jeff.
Hey there.
So everybody can probably hear it in my voice a little bit. We'll get into it in the beverages, but I'm kind of getting over a little bit of something. So I'm going to try not to talk all that much on this show. So
yeah,
I've been drinking tea to kind of get my voice back. So but the show must go on, right? We didn't do a show last week, so we can go 2 weeks.
This is really bad timing for this. This is the Nick Chubb farewell show for you not to be able to be on top of your game. That's tough.
Yeah, that's all right. We've got plenty to talk about. So we will do that, and I will chime in where I can. And
so by the way, I didn't hear it in the intro, but what episode number is this?
This is number 299.
Ooh, get close to a big number.
Yeah, we got a big number coming up. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see what we can pull together.
Sweet.
All right. So, everybody who's watching, listening, be sure to feel free to comment, questions, anything to join in the fun. But we're going to get things going. We're going to bring in our guest and our good friend Joe Iuppa. You can follow him at JoeyDove77. Hey, Joe, how are you?
Well, minus Mr. Nick Chubb not being with the Browns anymore, I'm doing very well, thank you. It's bittersweet. I certainly think, with the two draft picks, the writing was on the wall, but sometimes reality hits a little harder. And it was pure excitement in 2018. That draft was definitely one of the best we've had with, Baker, Denzel, and Chubb. Those three were just an incredible, lightning bolt that got our first playoff win. And Chubb is everything you can ask for a teammate, representation for the city, a class act. Not one negative word did he ever say. And, I hope that he still succeeds. Certainly not rooting for the Texans to succeed, but I would like him to play well. I'm always rooting for, that guy, and it's going to be very strange to see him in a different uniform.
I would guess that almost every Browns fan feels that way. And that's just so unusual to have a player that just everybody loves, that much. So it stinks for Browns fans, but we have to hope for the best for Nick. So hopefully this gets his career back on track, and and he's got a few good years left in him. I'd love to see it. So we'll talk more about that. We're going to talk about some other things with minicamp going on and all that. But let's talk about what we're drinking with our Blitz beverages. Joe, you're the guest.
Okay.
You get to go first and tell us what you have in front of you there.
All right. Well, it was not done on purpose, but I have a green can here. It's Fatheads Brewery, and it's St. Fatty's Irish Red Ale. and
Okay.
it's one of my favorites. And it's just a beautiful, delicious red ale, Irish red ale. And I had it sitting in my fridge, and I figured with my good friends here, let's pop it. And it's delicious, refreshing, and I think it's a perfect time to toast my friends here and toast to more positives and negatives for this Browns season. We need to have the previous season be in the rearview mirror.
Absolutely.
I like it.
So, yeah. Are we doing cheers on that one, Joe?
Sure.
We want to see the can.
Oh, you want to see the can?
Yeah.
See, I had a oops.
It's doing what Jeff's does. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, there
when
you
it,
go.
it disappeared.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
There
Disappears
you
on
go.
the brown background. Very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So Jeff, what do you have in front of you there?
So I found this last week. In my endless search to find non-alcoholic brews. This is a Golden Road Brewing Company non-alcoholic mango cart, which is a wheat brew. Just show you the can here with mango. I've said it before. I've gone over to the dark side with fruits in my beers, but this mango is really, really refreshing.
If that tastes anything like the regular mango cart, that's an excellent beer because I've had that. Yeah.
It's got to. I mean, it tastes really good.
It's probably very refreshing. Similar. Yeah, that's a great choice. Yeah.
It's be a good summertime beverage.
Okay, guys, I would love nothing better than to be drinking a beer with you guys, but in order to be able to talk, I'm drinking in this cup. I got some peppermint tea. That's my second cup of tea tonight. The first one had some other stuff in it, including some honey, because as bad as I sound now, I could barely talk when I got home from the office. So I got enough to get me through the show. And then just in case, I opened up a Coke Zero orange cream in case I needed something, in case I start coughing or something like that. So in case I needed to drink something fast. So I'm two-fisting it, but none of it has any alcohol in it.
Right.
Fair enough.
So
taking one for the team.
Yeah, but you guys brought your A game tonight, so nicely done.
Cool.
All right. Jeremy Bonham is drinking a Corona. Okay. Just got to get that out of there. I'm going to show that.
All right.
There it is. Okay. What happened? Oh, I showed it and then I took it right off. Okay. There you go. All right.
Cheers.
Anybody else's?
Great picture.
Feel free to chime in if you're drinking along with the show tonight, even if it's not something that has alcohol in it. So, guys, Browns news. We'll get more into Nick Chubb a little bit later because we could probably talk the whole show about Nick. Let's talk a little bit about minicamp and some of the stuff going on there. I don't know how closely you guys have been following it. I mean, I was on vacation last week in Florida. That's why I'm sick, because I was around my grandson who had a snotty nose and a cough all week. And I picked it up like on Friday, just before I flew back home and started this new job. So perfect timing, but I got to spend all week with him. So it was cool. I'll survive. But, so I was a little bit out of the loop on that. And now I've been working my job. So I'm still kind of out of the loop. So I really haven't seen many highlights or anything. There's still a ton of talk about the quarterbacks and who's getting the reps and who looks good and all this stuff. I like the quote from Joe Flacco, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he pretty much said that minicamp is about trying to get some confidence heading into the season so that they feel like a team together that can compete and go out and win some games. He didn't talk about competitions or anything like this. And I thought that was kind of a smart way to look at it. It's kind of about team building, getting a few reps. So I'll let you guys talk about any observations or anything you've seen that stood out to you so far in minicamp. And Joe, we'll let you go first.
Okay. I can't say I've looked it thoroughly under a microscope, but the makeup of this team, and obviously I don't believe anyone was necessarily forecasting a trade and then getting Mason Graham. Defense was certainly not the thing that was lacking. It was putting points on the board. But with having a first round pick for next year, I think there was actually some good foresight. And, we won't know until see what next year is. And I can tell you, besides rooting for the Browns, I'm going to root for every opponent of the Jaguars this season thoroughly.
Sure.
We want that season to be not successful in Jacksonville, for sure. But I was actually, prior to the draft, I was very excited about Mason Graham as a prospect. I thought he would fit in very well, next to Miles and just disrupting the middle of that offensive line. So I think that was a great addition. And, with these two young running backs, I mean, I almost forecast there's going to be a lot of 18, 17 games. It's going to be, ground and pound control, use these two, the tight ends. And, obviously whoever's quarterbacking, we're going to kind of have to see what that is, because that's obviously up in the air. I mean, sure. I would ponder to guess that Flacco, is the leader in the clubhouse, but Pickens, they're saying there's a lot of good things with him too. So whoever it is, I just want, some excitement, some positivity moving the ball down the field. And, I think they could be a decent team. I don't have high expectations, but I think with a really good defense, and we just have to hope that offensive line stays healthy. I think that's the key to having a decent to above average season.
Yeah. Yeah. Jeff, anything that stands out that you've seen or heard about?
It's time for the weekly dose of yes, Jeremy, you were right. They were going to take Mason Graham from day one.
Yeah.
Jeremy fell in love with Mason Graham sometime in February, I think. I guess talking about camp and what's going on and everything, I think what impresses me most at this point is that they're not getting caught up in this media frenzy of who's going to be the starting quarterback, how many snaps is Shador getting, all this garbage of, somebody in the media making up a story and then somebody else picking up on it and saying analyst predicts, blah, 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 blah. They're very businesslike. I listen mostly to what they say in their press conferences, the coaches and the players. I don't really listen to what anybody in the media says. And what you're hearing from all of them right now is they're all saying the right things. That hey, we're team building, like you said. We're working on getting better each day. This idea of a quarterback competition is strictly to bring out the best in everybody, right? It's not to beat somebody down or pick a winner in June when we're not playing until September.
Right.
Let's worry about September when September gets here. Right now, let's just keep getting better every day. And so for me, that's encouraging. You need to have that sort of mentality for the long haul. I especially liked what Miles had to say. Maybe you're planning on getting to that, Rod, but he's ready to step up his leadership role, set the example, and bring everybody else up to a higher level with him. That's something that this team desperately needs.
He talks about along with that, things are trending toward him having his best season. So, but it sounds like he's really team focused when he says that. When he talks about the leadership and some other things. So,
right.
I don't want to get into, picking apart what he said in the past, but some of the stuff he said in the past has not always come across as being as team focused as what this sounds like it is.
Right.
So it seems very positive to me.
The Jim Schwartz quote, with great power comes great responsibility, the Spider-Man quote. I think, that really resonates, that Jimmy Haslam called Miles out when he got the contract. And I listened very carefully to what Miles had to say in his press conference the other day. And he is saying that, he's all in on that. He accepts that responsibility and he plans to deliver on it. We'll see how he does.
Yeah. Joe, do you have thoughts on Miles or any thing that he's said or
certainly anything? I don't want to go, like Rod saying, go down a path of, it was definitely an up and down presentation by Miles in the off season, but long and short, I'm glad he's still here. Whatever it took. I mean, he's a talent. I don't think they would have improved by having him not on the team. First round picks are great, but how are you going to replicate a future Hall of Famer and a person that wants to be in Cleveland? So long and short, whatever business is business, I'm glad they got where they are. The thing that I hope is, it seems, and I don't know if it's just because of our the previous quarterback who hopefully is not going to take snaps again, that has fractured the team. You need to have a leader behind your center. And certainly that has not been there. They need to have a unified front. They need to have, all three parts of that team working to get a W. And I just feel that there was just such separate parts, specifically offensively. I can imagine that this defense, specifically a couple of years ago when they were number one, doing everything in the world, and it didn't matter because they couldn't move the ball, they couldn't score. And I just hope that whoever's quarterbacking this team, and I think hopefully they can kind of just unify all fronts in a sense. And I think there was obviously special teams last year was intriguing. We hope that Hopkins can kind of get things together, and maybe Bubba Ventrone after his first year, you can kind of work out that. Then it could be a misnomer. Everyone has a bad season, but I just hope that it was just such a mistake-filled season. To me, that's from the top down. I mean, Stefanski's got to be responsible for that. If there's penalties, turnovers every game, I mean, that was from the snap of the season to the end. And so I just hope that they play sounder, disciplined, organized football again.
Intriguing is a very nice way to put the special teams last year. So,
nail biting.
Yeah.
I try to be diplomatic sometimes.
Yeah. So a couple things. I mean, Miles mentioned, the departure of Nick Chubb and his leadership. So Miles says he's going to be a leader. I agree. I mean, you want leadership from your quarterback. So couple things here. We've talked, Jeff, about this season probably seeing the Browns play 3 quarterbacks at a minimum. Could be Flacco to start. Who knows if it goes, Flacco and then the 2 rookies. Can you still get leadership from that position, when you're transitioning like that? And if not, do you guys see any other potential leaders on this team right now?
Yeah. That's a hard one.
I would one guy I can think of. I kind of would like to see Grant Delpit step up, because I think his play has stepped up. His I think I could see that. I don't necessarily know if he's a vocal person in the locker room, but I like to see that. I would like to see Jerry Jeudy or Njoku would be another couple guys that, are showing better ability. But I guess the one that's the most veteran is Batonio. So, I mean, I don't think Miles is a softer spoken, very thoughtful gentleman. He's not, whatever his leadership is, I want him to be authentic with it. I don't want it to be forced. And, that's what I don't want. I want him to be a leader by, showing his actions, but I like him to be stronger, more vocal. And I hope that he is. He's saying he is, but I hope that he is, and I think too many times one of his downsides, he talks too much about his individual stats. And to me, sacks are a great number, but I think it's one of the most misrepresented stats that there is. That's, I want him to cause havoc. And okay, if that's 10 sacks or 17 sacks, I want him to just destroy that offensive line. And to me, that numbers don't matter.
Yeah, it's impacting the game. It's not necessarily the specific numbers.
Right.
Yeah.
And hopefully Mason Graham adds to that disruption for sure.
Yeah, and you never know. I mean, you don't know who can arise as a leader. I don't know. I mean, you don't expect it out of rookies. So we'll see. Maybe somebody will step up, but it really doesn't feel like the Browns have a lot of candidates for that on the roster right now. So we'll see what happens.
Particularly on offense. Real quick, I just want to say hi, Jay. My grandson checked in a minute ago. The defense is probably going to be the group that leads this team, right? For Miles and the defensive line to kind of be the leaders of this team. That's sort of where we are in the evolution of the team right now. What we missed on the offensive side was, yes, there was really bad quarterback play, but there was also really bad game plans. If we can put our offense in a little bit better positions this year, even if we don't get great quarterback play, the end result will probably be a lot better. Just
it should be
by the nature of giving them a chance, as Stefanski said, right? So, like you said earlier, Joe, run the ball, use high percentage stuff to tight ends, give our quarterbacks more of a chance. I think some leaders can emerge on the offensive side once that starts to happen.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And I really like to see Tillman stay healthy. And it seemed like he was really kind of picking up middle before he started getting injured. But I can, at that size, and there was some excitement to actually have a bigger bodied wide receiver, be that number 2 to Jeudy, and Njoku is a tight end, but he's pretty much a wide receiver. And there's we'll see if it's Michael Woods or who. I mean, that's still kind of up in the air, the kind of the depth of the wide receiver class. And hey, maybe Deontay Johnson can piece it together. We can hope, at least.
Yeah, I was going to bring him up. He
what do we have? 13. We have 13 wide receivers on the roster right now, right?
I do not have the roster up, but yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
David Bell. There's still some names. We'll see. I mean, it's
13 of them.
Yeah. I mean, Deontay Johnson caught some balls. He said he's ready to prove people wrong. So we'll see how serious he is. I mean, he's got to do a lot more than performing in a couple practices in June. So
sure.
But yeah, Joe, if he if they could get something out of him, it'd be great.
Yeah.
Guys, DeJuan Jones, he's down. He's down a lot of weight. He says he's down 20 pounds. I'm thinking he loses 20 pounds a day in practice. I'm thinking he's down more than that. Just from the pictures I've seen, he could seriously. I mean, I don't know how hot it is right now up there, but he could probably lose 20 pounds. I mean, in a regular practice and training camp. Not in these shorter practices. But it wouldn't surprise me if he's down quite a bit more than that. But I think that's kind of promising. You would think that would hopefully reduce the risk of injuries a little bit for him.
Sure.
Make him a little quicker. So
right.
Does that make you feel any better about left tackle, Jeff?
Not really. But I mean, it's good that there's good weight gain and there's bad weight gain. I forget who was talking about that not too long ago. Maybe it was Stefanski, one of his pressers. When DeJuan Jones is over 400 pounds, he's just not moving well enough to stay in front of people. So yeah, I guess the early indications are that he's a sponge right now. He's really focused on winning this left tackle job and solving that problem. There's the issue of him staying healthy, and then there's the issue of is he going to be able to get the job done at a high level at left tackle? So I'm still not feeling super confident there, but there's time. We'll see how it comes together over the next few months.
Yeah. Thoughts, Joe?
Well, I'm cautiously optimistic, I would say. I mean, if you were to say, our lovely previous left tackle who's not with us anymore, I feel much more confident about our present situation, but that's not a great comparison because I just think that there was some effort issues with Wills and things like that, and I think that there's a lot more desire with DeJuan. It's just he's very raw, so we shall see. But he showed a lot of positivity, and I think if we can stay healthy across all of those 5 positions, I don't think he has to be fantastic, but if he can be solid and not be injured and stay within himself, I think he could be more than adequate. He doesn't need to be outstanding, but right. if Conklin and the rest of the crew who has had previous injury issues, and I was unbelievably surprised how when Conklin first of all played, and he played very well. I mean, let's hope that continues. And I honestly think that's for the future. That's the offensive line in general. I think is one of their biggest concerns, because I don't think that Bitonio was a surprise he was going to come back. He was seriously contemplating not coming back, and the contract with Teller, Conklin contract, and I just think there's more uncertainty than certainty on that line. So I think, if Whippler's our future center and, Zentner is their future guard, they have some options, but there's a lot of uncertainties. So, but focusing on this year, I hope that it's decent and healthy.
Yeah, they've got a few more spaces to fill. I would agree, Jeremy. I think, who knows? Maybe DeJuan Jones plays great left tackle and he's the answer, stays healthy. But I think probably most of us see him as a right tackle in the future. So, but you never know. let's see what he does. So
right now we have 8 tackles on the roster, Rod. The Browns picked up Jackson Barton, I think, yesterday. And not a lot there, but I mean, he's a 5th-year player. He was originally a 7th-round pick of the Colts in 2019, number 240 overall, and he was cut in camp. So he's probably our 4th most experienced tackle on this roster, and he had 157 snaps last year with who was he with last year?
With the Cardinals.
Arizona
Cardinals
last year.
Yeah.
So prior to last year, he had 7 snaps in live football action in his career. So he was a practice squad guy, back and forth. And that's probably who's vying for our number 4 tackle job right now. There's not a lot after him. I mean, there's 4 guys who are definitely practice squad kinds of guys. So, I mean, Cornelius Lucas was a great signing. I'm thinking we're probably going to be leaning on him pretty heavy this year.
Could be.
Just doesn't give us a lot of long-term stability at tackle beyond this season is my concern, right? So, yeah, we got DeJuan Jones. Yeah. Okay, great. But beyond DeJuan Jones, what do we have at tackle in 2026? That's going to be an issue.
Yeah. It's interesting. And it's interesting that, I mean, they addressed other positions, but yeah, we could go on about them not addressing tackle this year. But
yeah, I've said it many times on this show, Rod, that Jack Conklin is consistently, when he's healthy, our highest rated tackle. And we're kind of looking past him being here next year. So I'm not super excited about DeJuan Jones replacing him, Jeremy.
Yeah. Jeremy says Hickman year 3 jump incoming. Well, he's got to win that starting job first.
Right.
We'll see what happens. Running a couple guys to compete with him.
Yep.
So, that's interesting. So, okay, let's. Don't know if I really have anything much else to talk about on the training camp side, guys. So let's get back to the Nick Chubb talk. I know you've got some stuff, Jeff. Of course, Nick Chubb. You want to go over your stuff first?
Well, we talked a lot about the top running backs in this organization in our history. Where Nick Chubb sits, I mean, obviously, Jim Brown, Leroy Kelly, Nick Chubb are the top 3 running backs in our history. In terms of yards, touchdowns, let's see. Nick Chubb is 4th in attempts. Mike Pruitt had more attempts than him. Nick Chubb did all this only playing 85 games. He passed Mike Pruitt, who played 124, right? Wow. So, yeah, we've talked a lot about where Nick Chubb was headed with this organization prior to devastating injury two seasons ago. I think at this point, if that injury had not happened, he'd definitely be number 2 on the team, and he'd probably be taking a legitimate run at Jim Brown over the next couple seasons. So, it's too bad. But look, we've said it before. I think Nick needed to go get a chance to be a workhorse back someplace to prove that he can still play. And that just wasn't going to happen here this season. So I wish him the best. But along those same lines, I thought it might be kind of fun. Rod, if you want to bring up tonight's Browns Brain Boost banner.
Okay.
I thought it'd be kind of
All
fun
right.
to look at 3 other areas. Brown's career leaders. So we know Jim Brown, Leroy Kelly, and Nick Chubb were the top 3 in terms of rushing. Passing in this organization. We all know that this is not a pass-happy team. Never has been.
Yeah.
But we all ought to be able to name the top 3 guys in terms of passing yards, right? Joe, you want to give it a shot?
I would guess Otto Graham, Brian Sipe, and Bernie Kosar. But Kosar was probably a little bit shorter. Maybe Frank Ryan.
Yep. No, you got all 3.
Okay.
Just the Sipe was a couple hundred yards more than Otto Graham, believe it or not.
Okay.
So Sipe is the all-time passing leader with this organization, and Otto Graham second, Bernie Kosar third. Any guess on who's number 4?
It's one of 2 guys. It's either, I mean, I think Frank Ryan's a good guess. I'm not sure if it's him though. You want me to throw out the other name?
Yeah.
Milt Plum. Is he 4th?
Actually, number 4, Baker Mayfield.
Okay.
Hard to believe.
I was
isn't
gonna
it?
I was gonna say that maybe.
Milt Plum's probably a little further down. I
Yeah.
don't think he played long enough for the Browns.
So Milt Plum had just under 9,000 yards passing.
Okay.
Which puts him eighth in team history.
Okay.
Frank Ryan had 13,361, 5th in team history, right behind Baker, who had 14,125. The difference between Baker and Bernie is about almost 8,000 yards, 8,000 yards between Baker and Bernie. So 2 to 3 good seasons, right? Was the difference there.
Three in Cleveland.
Right. Yeah. And so, when you think about Bernie having like almost 2,200 yards or 22,000 yards, Otto Graham having 23.5, and Brian Sipe being a couple hundred yards more than that. If this team ever found a quarterback that we could depend on and stuck around for a while, wouldn't be hard to rewrite that record book, right?
Yeah, that and the and pretty much all of the single season records too, which you don't have up, but the touchdown passing number is like from Sipe's MVP season, I think is 30, and his yardage number is pretty high, but it's like just over 4,000. So it's definitely reachable.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Take a 22-year-old kid, give him a couple of years to develop, and let him play for the next 10 years, and he'll be our career leader in passing. No question. Just got to find the right guy. Yeah.
Right.
So, all right. So this one's depressing. Career receiving yards. Yeah. Career receiving yards, top 3. Any guesses? Joe?
Ozzie Newsome's got to be number 1, I would think.
That's the easy one. Yep.
Yeah. Ozzie Newsome. I'm gonna say I think Webster Slaughter's up there.
I would say Webster.
Webster Slaughter is number 8.
Number 8? Wow. So we're talking probably I don't know.
We got to go.
We're talking the older guys then.
Yeah.
Max Speedy and Dante Lavelli.
Paul Warfield.
Yeah.
Oh, Paul Warfield's a good one too.
That's correct. Paul Warfield's number 6, and he missed a couple of years because he was traded. So
right.
He probably would have been up there, but so Ozzie Newsome 7,980 yards, Dante Lavelli 6,488, and Max Speedy 5,602. So in the great history of this organization, our top 3 receiving threats are a tight end and 2 guys who played in the 1940s.
We're all in the Hall of Fame, though.
Yeah.
At least.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Okay. Any guesses on who number 4 was? This is a hard one.
Number 4 receiver.
Um,
Man.
5,508 yards. So just behind Max Speedy.
Can you give us an era?
1952 to 1963.
52 to 63.
who was I'm trying to think. It was Otto Graham's one of his top guys, or Frank Ryan's top guys.
52 to 63.
I'm sure I'm gonna know who it is, but I don't know that I could come up with
Otto
it.
Graham. Yeah, I'll kick myself. I'm sure it's
Ray Renfro.
Ray Renfro. Okay.
Hard one.
Okay.
Yeah. The next guy, Gary Collins, was number 5, same era. Well, a little late.
Collins
later,
was the guy I was
60s.
Collins was the guy I was thinking of more so.
Okay.
60s. Yeah. Reggie Rucker, 7. Webster Slaughter, 8. Dave Logan, 9. Milt Moran, 10. I mean, you got to go all the way back to Braylon Edwards at number 14 to find a guy who played in the current era of the expansion Browns. Then you start hitting a few guys like Jarvis Landry and so forth. So,
yeah, you got to think Josh Gordon with his monster season. I mean, obviously it was such a small snippet. He had some big numbers for a couple of years, but obviously he comes in at 19. He derailed himself.
19.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. The illustrious receiving history of the Cleveland Browns organization. Once
not
again,
so good.
If we ever had a guy who could, stick around for a few years, wouldn't be hard to set that record either. All right. Okay, I think this one's pretty easy. Last career leader here. Scoring. Rod, you're going to know number 1 right away.
Oh, just scoring? Total points?
Scoring. Points. Yep, just points. Yep.
Is Phil Dawson's 1, right?
Well, he's number 2.
Oh, he's number 2. Jim Brown, number 1?
Nope.
Lou the Toe Groza.
Lou Groza's 1?
Lou Groza. I can't believe you didn't get that right.
He's still 1? I was thinking that. I think I'm thinking single season records.
Must be the head cold.
It's the head cold, definitely. I'm mixing up single season and career. Oh, I mean, Lou Groza was on my list, but yeah.
Yeah, and he played a long time. 1,608 points.
Okay.
Phil Dawson, number 2, 1,271, and he guesses on number 3, also a kicker.
Matt Barr. I don't think he's quite that high though.
Matt Barr's 5th.
Okay.
Oh. God.
A lot of kickers on this list.
It's not Cockcroft, is it?
It is. Don Cockcroft.
Is it Cockcroft? Okay.
Yeah, he was here long enough. Yep. Okay. So, the Sipe era, right? Almost to the Kosar era. 1,080 points. And number 4, you said it before, Rod. Bit of a drop off because he's not a kicker, but Jim Brown, 756 points.
Okay.
Yeah, he's 4th. Yeah. Then Matt Barr, Leroy Kelly, Matt Stover, Gary Collins, Dante. Then you're back into guys from the 1940s. All right. So, again, I just thought this was kind of interesting. Nick Chubb had a really good chance at breaking one of these records. Just didn't have quite enough longevity. But man, all of these are there for the taking. We just need a few guys that stick around for a while and play at a high level. Ozzie Newsome's probably going to be hard to catch, especially the way we throw the ball. But Lou Groza's scoring record might be out of reach forever too. But guys can certainly make it into the top 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's your brain boost for tonight.
Excellent. Nicely done, Jeff. So let's keep going on Nick Chubb. Matthew Lubbock. Follow him on X at Matthew Lubbock. Coincidentally, appreciate the question, Matt. Does Nick Chubb make your Mount Rushmore of Cleveland Browns? We've been talking about all these historic players, so great lean-in for this. Does Nick Chubb make your Mount Rushmore? Who is on your Mount Rushmore for the Browns? So we could kick this around for a long time, but I guess first of all, is Nick close to or in consideration for your Mount Rushmore, guys?
Let's qualify this. What are we talking in the current era? Like 99 to present, and then how many can I put up there? I mean, is this 4 guys, or is this
Mount Rushmore is 4?
I can carve out the entire Appalachian Ridge.
Mount Rushmore's 4 guys.
All right, so
4 guys.
Four guys since 99. I would say yes.
I mean, I guess we could do it 2 ways. Let's do it. Let's do the current era.
Belichick era.
Yeah, that was a great time. And then let's do all time. Okay. The all time is really not that hard. There's pretty much 2, 3, 4 guys that you're going to put on there without even thinking. So,
right.
So I guess the 99, the current, who are you guys putting on that Mount Rushmore?
Joe Thomas is first and foremost number 1.
Yeah.
No questions asked.
Yeah.
I would say Miles, Chubb, and then from there,
four's a little harder.
You could say,
yeah.
To me, I would say either Bitonio or Joe Hayden. I mean, those would be the guys that stand out to me. I mean, and Hayden was a little bit shorter, but he was great. And I would say maybe Denzel's past him. Those would be the guys that come to my mind, at least. But just thinking,
Yeah. Yeah, I think your first 3 are pretty much locks. It's really about that 4th spot for me, and I think you named probably the guys. So it's really preference whether you say Bitonio or whether you think there's definitely a case for Denzel, and Joe Hayden has a case too. So probably just a matter of who people like. I would probably go Bitonio right now, but I think it'd probably be Denzel by the time he's done playing. So yes, Matt. So Nick is on that, definitely on that Mount Rushmore for the 3 of us. How about the all-time Browns Mount Rushmore, guys?
That's hard.
There's 2 guys that are going on it no matter what, and let's just say first of all it's players. Okay, we don't need to put Paul Brown on there. Okay, just to make it a little bit easier. So Jim Brown and Otto Graham are going to be there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's 2 spots. Who else?
Yeah, I mean there's a lengthy list of Hall of Famers, from the championship era. I would, and this is probably a name that wouldn't come right off the tongue, but this is more from my dad's favorite player, and he's the one that got me in the Browns, was Gene Hickerson, and he was the pulling guard that was a huge thing to help create, Mary Motley, Leroy Kelly, and Jim Brown. Without him, and obviously they still would succeed, but he's certainly, I don't know if I would put him in there, but just from a sentimental standpoint, I've always been very partial to him.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
But I think you would probably put. I think Leroy Kelly's got to be right there, and then I don't know. I don't know if Sipe or Bernie. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it depends on the era when you were following, because Bernie and Sipe mean a ton to this community and to this city. You know, just wonderful guys, wonderful stand-up guys. They still love being here, or do you just stick with those championship teams that, you know, were so dominant?
I think there's a case for Joe Thomas to be on that Mount Rushmore.
That's true.
He's definitely the greatest player in this era.
Mm-hmm.
I think to this point, you know, hands down.
That's fair, for sure.
I don't, you know, again, it's who you like, you know. Some people will put Luke Rosa there. I mean, I would put Marion Motley there. I think I would do Marion Motley, and then I would be good with Joe Thomas, or several other guys probably.
Yeah.
But Jeff, who are your other two guys, or who are your four guys?
I'm thinking about this in terms of the entire league. What guys would hold up versus everybody else in the NFL? Not just, you know, our own local perception, right? So I think that eliminates guys like Sipe and Kosar, you know, guys who just didn't win enough, right? But guys whose body of work would hold up versus the entire NFL. I think Joe Thomas is probably 3 or 4, because you could plug him into any left tackle position at any point in time on any team, and he's probably the best player on the line. I mean, and the Browns had some great tackles, but nobody did what Joe Thomas did, right? To be a first ballot Hall of Famer, right? Mm-hmm. For me, the other guy, and I mean, I could be convinced otherwise, but I think the guy who really set the standard at his position was Ozzie Newsome. He sort of revolutionized what the tight end position was. He and Kellen Winslow, right? Probably gets a little bit more play in Cleveland than he does nationally, but not a lot. And then I think he's pretty well recognized as one of the all-time great tight ends. So he could be there at number 4 for me.
I like that. I like that choice.
Close between a few other guys too.
Yeah. Can I share? I grew up in Western New York in Rochester. It's a huge Brown backers town, and the two gentlemen that Rod had mentioned that I met, I got to shake Marion Motley's hand, and I got to shake Lou Rosa's hand, and I was fairly young at that point, and I'll tell you, it stood with me. Those guys were just incredible, and you know, I got to meet Lou, you know, Rosa. I mean, I got to meet a lot of guys, but it was just what a treat to meet those guys, and you know, to see my dad, you know, meet them for the first time. And I mean, those were gentlemen that he grew up watching, and they were just so excited that I was a Browns fan, and they just were just the definition of gentlemen, and it was unbelievable memories and just a treat to shake their hand.
Nice. I'm laughing at Raul's Mount Trashmore entries.
Very nicely
Raul, you're obviously not a regular listener of this show, because if you were, you would know that Greg Little doesn't belong on that list. But the other 3, nicely done.
Yeah, Greg Little came up just a couple shows ago, and you looked up his stats. So
yes,
and it surprised
much better than anybody remembers.
Yeah, he was actually not as terrible as we thought. He was actually pretty decent. So But yeah, that was in an era when a lot of wide receivers came and went. So
Yeah.
oh yeah. All right, but yeah, we appreciate the comment and having you jump in, Raul. So hope you'll continue to do so. So
Snark is always welcome
yeah.
here.
Absolutely, it's all about having some fun. So guys, Jimmy Haslam put out a thank you letter to Nick Chubb and everything. Said that he'll be honored in the Browns Ring of Honor someday. Is that the right way to honor Nick right now? Is to to say we'll honor him when his career's over, we'll bring him back and put him in the Ring of Honor. Should anything else be done? I mean, what else do you do when a guy that's meant so much to your organization I can't even say leaves, ends up with another team?
It's hard to say. I mean, honestly, myself yesterday, I wore the Nick Chubb jersey all day in honor of him. And, to me, there's no better representation. I think my wife was more upset than I was because she was hands down, when he got injured, she didn't watch the rest of the season. She was that down after that Pittsburgh game. Yeah. And it's hard to say, but to me, it's intriguing how Andrew Berry has kind of handled the situation. And I don't necessarily think that it was incorrect not to bring him back. I don't know what the answer was, but to me, in my heart, I wanted him to finish as a Brown and not to play with anyone else. And I don't think anyone foresaw, that horrible injury and then breaking the foot out of nowhere. It's not fair what happened to a person that gave their all and did not say one negative word, and he could have had every opportunity to say some things. He's the definition of class. And it's unfortunate. It's more than unfortunate the way that it ended, but I'm not necessarily sure that he was in the plans. And, so I don't know, Rod, what to say on that. But I mean, to me, it's almost a backhanded compliment to a point saying, well, he's going to be there in the Ring of Honor. So there you go. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure right or wrong what should have been done, but I'm just more, it hurts that he's not with them anymore because he is the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I agree. What are your thoughts, Jeff?
Yeah, I was hoping he'd come back too. I thought that even with the two running backs that they drafted this year, that they could have found a role for him. I mean, Jerome Ford taking the contract reduction, I guess, sort of sealed it because Ford plays special teams. Nick doesn't. So, yeah, I hated to see it end this way. I kind of felt like Nick was going to go somewhere where they would let him run the ball 15 times a game, not just be for us, he would have been probably a short yardage guy, goal line guy, maybe even a fullback. I don't know how they would have utilized him. But for him to continue his career, he needed to have some place that was going to give him the ball. And so I get that. And I'm rooting for him to get back to where he was. As far as the Ring of Honor and things like that, I think it's too soon to say anything else. You sort of have to wait until his career's done before you write the final chapter. Would I like to see them, have a Nick Chubb day or retire a jersey number or something along those lines? Of course. I think you have to wait until his career's over to do those kinds of things. So saying that you're
Yeah.
going to put him in the Ring of Honor, of course, yeah, you can do that anytime, right? He's earned that.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, Kenny Lofton came back twice. Jim Thome came back twice, I think.
Right.
Who knows what could happen? Like I said, you know, maybe Joe Mixon goes crazy in Houston and Nick doesn't get enough carries, and for some reason they release him. I don't know. I still think there's a possibility of a reunion at some point in the future. And if that's the case and he can add to his legacy here, then who knows what else could happen after that.
Yeah. Yeah, Jeff makes fun of me because I think you guys know I get emotional and stuff and all that. And the only, you know, see, I'm watching the America's Got Talent last night, and this lady starts singing this Beatles song, and her voice was tremendous. And it doesn't happen very often, but I actually started crying watching this lady sing. So what I'm trying to say is the only reason I'm not getting upset about this is that Nick Chubb's career isn't over. He's going to keep playing, and I'm still rooting for him. I'm upset. You know, I'm not happy that it's not going to be in Cleveland, but I hope this works out to be a good thing for Nick. A reunion in the future would be great, but man, I'm going to keep being a Nick Chubb fan for as long as he plays, and, you know, even after that, just because of the man he is. You know, I'm certainly not alone in that respect. I think everybody just has been in love with this guy for years, for his full tenure here in Cleveland. And, you know, he's just given us all a lot of great memories. He's shown us, you know, what a football player should be, how a team player should act, and just really given us something to point to say, you know, man, that's the player I want on my team. That's the kind of guy I want on my team. You know, and he did that. So, and we were blessed to have him here in Cleveland for a long time. So, and man, I just wish him the best. So, and with that, let's get some closing thoughts, guys. Joe, it's been great talking to you. We really appreciate you coming on and spending some time with us, talking some Browns.
I love it. I was trying to think. I think this is my third time with you gentlemen, and I thoroughly enjoy it. I mean, first of all, you know, it means a lot to me that you know, feel enough that, you know, that I add to the segments. And I mean, you know, I'm a very thoughtful, loyal fan, and, you know, the Browns, you know, as I was starting to date my wife, I said I'm a Browns fan. So first of all, you know, I'm loyal. So you know, that I stick with them, and, you know, so I joked around with her about that. But you know, I really enjoy being with you guys. I mean, it's you know, you guys speak from the heart. You're really good people, and I definitely enjoy being with you. And I just, more than anything, I want some positivity. I want, you know, some potential clarity going forward. It would be it'll be something else if one of these rookie quarterbacks could show just a little bit of something, you know, and I would love that. I don't know that it'll happen, but it would be great to just, you know, maybe utilize those 2 first-round picks on something else, you know, but maybe that's just the eternal optimist being a Browns fan. But I just want it to be an exciting season, and I don't know that that's going to equate to points, but I just want some continuity. I would just like to see them play as a team and play disciplined football, and certainly not be a semblance of what last year was. But you know, I certainly appreciate being on with both of you, and, you know, I hope for the best, and you know, per usual, I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, that works. All right, Jeff, closing thoughts.
It's been a pleasure, Joe. Always is good seeing you. we've waited 26 years. We finally, in my mind, have an organization that knows what it's doing, and for the most part, does the right kinds of things. That's what continues to make me optimistic about this team. Is the things that happen between games and between seasons, and the product doesn't always show up on the field yet. But what this organization does and how it conducts itself, and the leadership and the professionalism, gives me great optimism for what the future can be for this organization. We're going to find our quarterback. It might not be this year. It might be next year. But we're going to find a quarterback that's going to end up in that top 3 in passing. I feel like we have most of the other pieces that we can build around that. This fan base just needs to be patient a little while longer. It's June. We're still almost 3 months away from the first meaningful game. We need to let these guys learn and become great teammates, and hopefully somebody will surprise us, or more than one somebody will surprise us this year, and we'll see some really positive things. I think it would be great if we didn't have to use that top pick or those top 2 picks next year on a quarterback. Imagine how much further down the road we could be, right? Yeah. But no matter what, this team's trending in the right direction. We're doing the right things. Just stay patient, fans. Enjoy the ride for now. The wins will come.
Excellent. All right. This has been the Browns Blitz. We thank you for listening and watching, and we will catch you next time.